What's up, everyone in internet world? Notice I didn't say YouTube there. It is Tuesday, October 16, 2018. It's 10:24 p.m. here in Central Standard Time. And wherever you guys are in the world of the internet, welcome to the episode 193 of Torch Talk. We're getting real close to 200 there, and that's a pretty awesome milestone. 200 episodes of multiple hours of content, all kinds of good funness. And we're gonna have another exciting evening. I think it's gonna be a great time. We're gonna have some fun. We may have some guests show up later. Who knows? But for right now, we're gonna hang out. We're gonna talk some glass. We're gonna watch some glass and watch some beautiful footage that Mike Mason was able to shoot a little earlier this year. I guess maybe in February or so.
Yeah. Well, this was Summer Champs games, so
Oh, summer.
yeah,
Sorry. Yeah.
summer.
So
It's all good.
it's still earlier this year, but just not as early, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get to some intros and we'll watch some glass. How about that? And this is, I think, our first time broadcasting to Facebook, which is an interesting thing. But hey, there's always room for new stuff and new fun like that. So for those of y'all watching on Facebook, welcome. For those of y'all watching on YouTube later, welcome as well. I'll be 50% of your hosts tonight, I guess. My name is Will. You can find me at SETX Glass, SETX Glass on Instagram, Facebook, and all those places. And you can find me here on Torch Talk on a Tuesday night. And my buddy sitting right next to me somewhere is Mr. Mike Mason. There he is. I was wearing that
Yeah.
shirt yesterday, man.
Oh no shit, that's what's up. Yeah, shout out to William Forrest Crocker on the Bora shirt. Yeah, homies, I'm Mike Mason. Y'all know where to find me. Mike Mason Glass on Instagram or, you know, kicking it on the Facebook group. But yeah, like Will said, we got a demo tonight of some footage I shot out at the Champs Glass games. And if you're not familiar, Champs is a huge trade show. They're actually one of my sponsors too, so big shout outs. They help make everything I film possible, even at other events. But their event is like mega trade show for the industry, huge amount of buyers. And then in the middle, though, is a huge glass competition. Um, Two massive sides, over 40 people melting at once, and some of them are just now right, every man for himself. Others are themed and teamed and that sort of thing. So yeah, I've got 3 demos for you guys tonight. One of them is pretty quick. Liquid Glass did the external drop down. So if you've got a rig where you have like your drop down that you add later and you can remove it, or removable drop down, whatever you want to call it. How he prepares that, it's pretty quick, but he's got a methodology I like. And then SAF or SAF Glass or whatever, he did Reticello with line tubing that's sleeved. It's a cool technique. It's really dank. And then Trinity Glass, Jimmy, who might be popping in a little bit later. He's running a little behind, but I think he's going to join us and to chat and narrate. He made a sweet-ass donut pendant for the photorealism category, so he's really trying to make this look like as accurate as possible. And I mean, they nailed it. It's freaking gorgeous. So, yeah, man, I won't take any more of your time bullshitting. Let's jump right into this stuff. And yeah, like I was mentioning, there's some sponsors that help me cover all these shows and get to all these events and to do all this editing. Huge shout out to these companies. They're all dank. And like I said, they really make it possible. And then some of you guys pitch in on Patreon. So if you ever go to patreon.com/Mike Mason, those cats for a few bucks a month are getting early access to this footage. They've actually been enjoying these videos like since the summer. But now it was a good time. The Champs trade show out in Denver is going on right now, so I thought it would be a good time to maybe reminisce since I'm not out there. They don't have a live competition at that one, so it was like, can't really justify hopping on a plane for that one as much as I'd love to be there for the party. But okay, this is Liquid Glass, and okay, here's the piece that you're gonna see, this Mr. Peanut rig, and read this story, you guys. I thought this was adorable. This story talk about Bob Snodgrass comes around and told him the Planters Peanut Factory was a great place to smoke herb because nobody can smell it over the peanuts.
Wow.
So there we go. I thought that was a fun little Bob Snodgrass anecdote, and he's kind of like the grandfather of the games. He's there, generally judging or just kicking it, and he's always walking around checking out everybody's pieces, and it's always a pleasure when he pops up. So at this point, most of this is already done. Like a really cool piece here, and as you can see, he's opened a hole. And then I think a lot of the secret sauce is you're going to see him. He's going to basically coil some clear glass around there. So there's a raised area to kind of give it enough glass to grab that joint. And then he's going to ream that out and just really make sure that's a good, happy piece there. And then use the joint tool. And then finish it with a glass joint. So, yeah, it's not the most insane thing, but I don't know if this is one we've covered or seen anybody do. I don't know. I think it's neat to see exactly how he approached this, especially with a sculptural rig where he's already got this and he doesn't want to do too much. This was a nice way to get the amount of glass that he needed to form that external drop, so that he could put in one with a joint. And this is one of those times I wish I could have just ran around and got over his shoulder. But he's really just coiling glass on, like almost like a coil pot around the edge of that hole that he opened. And then the real trick there is to that inner wall and everything. It's got to be really happy. So he's going to take his time to cook that in and hit it with a reamer first, and before he switches to the joint tool. You see, he's like false alarm. I think he switches to a reamer here. There we go. See, so he's really cooked that in and kind of reaming it out a bit. And in doing so is making sure that all that glass is happy. You don't want there to be any like weird little seam or kink or whatever. That's just your stress point. And if the joint's going in there all the time, like the downstem, that's going to be like the most trafficked place on that whole piece. So you obviously don't want anything fucked up there. Mm-hmm. So they even lifted that lip out a little with like a piece, like a pick or whatever. He's got it in his hands right now. I don't know if it's like a dental tool or whatever, but he's got some sort of tool. It doesn't matter. Whatever tool you have that you like for that sort of move, use it. And just really make sure that inner lip is happy. And then now he's going in with the actual tool that's meant for shaping, the rough shaping of a joint. It's like an octagonal reamer at the right taper of the joint. This rig is making me laugh.
I love it. Yeah, it's so good.
Just going for a stroll.
Everybody remembers the planner peanut guy.
Yeah, totally. I'd gotten the video. I got this edited earlier in the day, and then I went and did some shopping. When my Michael came through and wrecked my power for days, and my mom she's in town, but her refrigerator just happened to break the other day, and so I couldn't like empty my fridge and take it over to her place. I went shopping and had to replace like all my condiments and butter and all that simple stuff that you only have to buy like once a year.
Yeah, and you never use.
Yeah, and it was like bad. I just bought this like 48 box of hamburgers and everything. I'd be trying to buy in bulk. I like a good deal, baby, but didn't turn out to be a good deal for me because I threw out about 35 of them.
Bummer.
Yeah, no shit. There's some raccoon who's gonna be very happy when he gets into my trash can
after it thaws, or mostly, I guess, right?
Well, I mean, I'll probably find him dead on my porch from salmonella.
Or some kind of E. coli, or hey, you never know.
Yeah. So at this point, guys, he's switched to a waxed joint to kind of get that final shaping. You get it rough and then go in. It's very much like shaping a joint from there. Like, we've done this before on, like, the 10 mil rig episode, but I don't know. I really think that secret sauce was getting to watch how he coiled that glass around there first and kind of gave himself enough room to do it. And with that methodology, you can add the external or removable diffuser to any piece. So, I don't know. I thought that was a really neat one, and I snuck that on to this episode. It's like 6 minutes, but I thought we'd start out strong. And this guy was nice. If you go to his Instagram, which when we're watching on YouTube, this will be linked in the video description. I'll upload this later for the homies on Facebook now. If you go back to the post, I actually linked it. Basically, he was talking, he thought that he'd maybe overdone that joint a bit. And then when he took it to a shop like a few days later or after the show, it turned out to be perfect. So we did see a good example there. And yeah,
I
this
love
was... what's
I
that?
love the balance, man. Like how he, I mean, everything's balanced on those 3 points, and he nailed it.
Yeah, it's a really cool piece. I really like it. It got character. And then here's SAF Glass. I should have asked him how exactly to pronounce that, but I'm just like, hey, I'm Mike. We just try and talk like you real humans. But if I'm missing something on that. All right, and this is the piece that the Reticello section that you're gonna see actually went into. And this
Mm.
was one of the team collabs or whatever. So him and Avery York dropped in on this piece, which is pretty freaking sick. And this patterning turns up in a lot of the stuff that he does, and it's just gorgeous. So we'll get to see exactly how he goes about doing it. There's a lot of ways to slice this, and you can draw these things on, and cook one in and do the twist, and then draw the next ones, or
Mm.
there's all kinds of ways you can go about it. So you can draw them on, and then make another one with them drawn and twist it up the other way and then sleeve. There's like all these different ways you can do each part of this process, and then combine them. But here's one where he starts with his line tubing and twists it up and then sleeves them. Like no vac. You'll see it go down in just a minute. So here's one with a rainbow pattern. And I think he's using a similar type of prep, maybe even just sleeved over solid to make those twisty canes. I could be wrong, just a guess, but they all match his patterning, so it's like makes me think he's starting with the same prep. And then check this cool painting out. It's always nice when somebody with a different, artistic thing, brings their art to what we do.
Mm.
All right, so yeah, here he's starting with just a blank of line tubing, and he's going to get it all twisted up and even, and then he'll repeat that process twisted the other way, and then he'll be ready to sleeve them. So just enjoy watching him do that. And this is one of those like dank heat type of things, you guys, especially when you're twisting these things up. You really want to take your time and get as much of the blank as you can hot, as much as you're comfortable working with. Heat that whole bad boy up and get it really, really hot. And you can see here, this piece is glowing. You could just see that there's not really any hot spots. It's nice and evenly heated, and that's going to lend itself to just even motion as you twist it. I like to do most of my twisting as I come out. So I won't do any of that in the flame. I'll generally bring it out and give it a puff and then a twist, and I tend to get more even results that way. I think he's doing something similar here, but unfortunately there's a torch in the way for some of those twistings. But you see, he's not doing the twisting in the flame. He's keeping it relatively even. You're seeing the twist happen between those sessions. Just my observation. But there's a lot of ways to attack this. Look at that. That's really starting to look nice. There's all of Emilio Santini's Corning demos on YouTube are spectacular, but there's one where he's twisting up a blank of scallop tubing or profile tubing or whatever, and I think he talks about this, and it matches up with like what everybody important in my glass life has taught me as well. So I think his videos are really, really excellent. He teaches point pulling, all types of fundamental cup shaping. It's a lot of like what Eric Goldschmidt did on the show that we shared last week. just really, really, really fundamental hollow work rooted in Venetian technique. These guys figured this shit out a long time ago, and they grew up doing it. And, it's, and Santini is one of the first who really came over here and kind of started sharing this stuff with us. We've talked about him on the show before, but if you haven't heard my Emilio Santini rant, I think American pipe making and American glass working in general, flame working especially, owes that guy a huge debt. Like I said, he was really one of these people who came over here and shared so much and kind of brought us up to speed with what people like Toffolo were doing and such. That's he's an important figure. And then in more personally speaking, I'm out here in Virginia, and he taught at VCU where they had a glass program. So you've got a lot of these guys who came out of Virginia, like Rye and AKM and all these cats who came from this Richmond area. So many of them came out of this VCU flame working program where they were taught by this, Venetian maestro or whatever. And that, their influences spread. Escookie's another one. He learned his chops with this guy when he spent 2 months with him down at Penland. He's Escookie is my first real proper instructor after I'd been an apprentice at Redemption with Fat Mike. So it's like even so much of the way I work and teach, it comes back to Santini. So there's a bit of my Santini rant, or not rant, but just I don't know. I think he's a special figure, and he deserves. Everybody should really know about who he is and what he's doing. And watch his Corning demos if you don't know who I'm talking about. You'll learn something, I guarantee it. All right, so here we go. Second one, round 2. And one of these will get sleeved over the other. The other's Dan Hoffman in the background. Shout-outs to him.
Mike, our friend Doby-Wan Glass in the chat wanted to know if you knew if he drew those lines or was it a vac stat?
I think it's line tubing that was probably vac stacked.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, how about Cowboy? I've got some footage of him doing reversals at Melt, and basically all the tubing they were working with was 75 mil vac stacks with basically clear, and then just stringers. So it's you get incredibly fine line tubing like this, but even finer. And so much of that tubing ended up going into rigs with Nico Cray and it was ridiculous. It was awesome.
Yeah. Melt was a special thing, wasn't it?
Yeah. Now that I'm looking at it though, it does look like there's termination points, so I think he may have actually drawn those.
Oh, I see what you're talking about there. Yeah, it's and they don't all go to the bottom there.
Yeah, totally. So I'm actually now believing that maybe he did draw them on, and this is the second half of that section. He split it into 2, so we'd have 2 sections about the same size. That's my new take. Yeah. Disregard anything I said that contradicted that earlier.
Edit the tapes.
Yeah. And like I was saying earlier, Champs is this huge competition. There's 20 plus people on each side of this huge area in the middle of the trade show. So it's at these shows, I'm doing the best I can to, sniff out the hot stuff. And sometimes, the Shubba one, we saw him do almost that whole mini tube, or that Hick Dog demo where he did the Dragon Sherlock. If I find something like that at the right time in the process, I'll stick with them. Other times, I'm just going around and trying to sniff out the hottest shit I can find, and sometimes we don't get the whole process and the Champ stuff. But it's fun to speculate about what it was. It looks like he is now going to remove that janky stuff from the bottom. Not so much janky, but yeah, where all those lines terminate unevenly.
Yeah, making sure he has a nice clean in there.
Yep. All right, I'm going to step away for just one moment. I'll be right back.
Well, I would tell you guys normally when Mike steps away to like and subscribe, but you can't really subscribe to a Facebook thing. But if you're watching this later on YouTube, you can. So like and subscribe if y'all feel the need. We would appreciate y'all doing that. Y'all know where y'all can find us, though, basically every Tuesday night. we are doing something in glass, unless we're not. And then, well,
Oh yeah.
that's just the way it goes. But yeah, usually you can find us broadcasting some glass on a Tuesday. So
Yeah. Yeah. We're not stopping just because YouTube shit the bed. Fuck them.
no, yeah, and apparently, YouTube is having some massive, widespread outages, which I'm sure that's just making the Jake Paul fans go nuts.
Right. Yeah.
Probably they're losing their minds somewhere.
Yep. I've seen people already hitting the wall.
Really?
I shared a cat video of my
I
own.
saw.
Just,
Yeah, that video was funny, dude.
Cheers.
I can't
man.
believe you're taking Pearl out like that, but that's awesome.
Yeah. She'll learn to face forward in the basket one day. But for now, I'm pretty impressed. Yeah, she rolls with the punches pretty well. I shared a video of me and my cat riding around the neighborhood, and she chills in the basket on my bike. So it's good times. I'll share it with you guys later after the demo.
Oh yeah, a nice little cherry on top, huh?
Yeah. Why not? Well, animal cam.
Pearl cam instead of panda cam.
Yeah, but it made me laugh. I already saw people like, YouTube's down. This is how I do.
What am I gonna do on a Tuesday night if YouTube's down?
Yeah.
I have to actually read a book or go outside or something. Notice his attitude on that CC is pretty extreme there. I mean, at least from what I've seen in the past.
That angle up. Yeah.
It's just almost a straight up shot there.
Right.
I kind of like it though. It's interesting.
That is interesting. It's funny how some people have their whole own feel with it. Now you see, guys, you see how the tube is kind of distorting a little bit there? It's like that's what happens, and you'll see it even, like, I've done a stemware episode, like, with the scallop tubing, and, like, you'll see those little ripples happen. This is why it's so important to have that dank, even core heat in there. If you've put even heat in there, when you give it these puffs, those walls, you give it a little puff and just a little tug at the same time, and that wall is going to straighten right out. It's something you just got to play with, but I like to give it a little bit of the twist and the puff, and then just a little bit of a tug, and everything just evens and straightens right out. And like I said, it's when you see that twist, like, I don't know, when you see a twist that's all janked up, you can kind of just tell. Either the heat wasn't right, or their hands just got really sloppy. But in my mind, the rotation part is not that, you just add a little drag. It's not that deep. But if the heat isn't even, adding a little drag is going to affect that force in an uneven way, right? And then your lines are going off. So just something to think about, how important it is to really make sure that you got that nice heat, and like, and this is something I was just telling a friend. It's so important the way you come out of the flame. Even if you've put even heat into it, if you exit the flame rapidly, like if you're just heating it in the closer to the face, and then you just come straight up fast, essentially the last part that you hit is going to be heated more than the rest. So you're starting out with an uneven spread of heat. So it's very important when you're doing something like this. It's important all the time, in my opinion, but you can get a little more cavalier with it. Once you know what you're doing, you can kind of come straight up, but a little slower, and just know, just kind of like watch for that one full rotation as it happens sort of game, But especially in the beginning, the safest thing to do is walk it out the back. So just, if you're heating and working in like the hot zone closer to the face, but when you exit, keep rotating and just go to the back of the flame and then come up. And I think you're going to find you're not going to end up putting that hot spot in there right before you blow into it. And then if you notice, like, he's not blowing into it right away, he's getting into position and chilling gently, and that gives the heat a second to homogenize and just even out. And so that's something to think about too. There's no need to rush. It's almost like if you've ever surfed, or even if you've never surfed, one thing that'll catch you as a beginner if you're trying to learn to surf, everybody tries to jump up super fast, It's like the second they feel that inertia or whatever as the wave catches the board, they'll try and jump up, and it's just too soon, you know? Like, just hold on a second. Let that the power come in and then pop up. Sort of thing. It probably doesn't make any sense to anybody who doesn't live near a beach. But just take your time. There's no need to rush. Come out of the flame evenly, and then give the heat a second to even out, and then give it your puff and your twist, or do whatever action it is that you want to do. So just a thought. But yeah, how you exit the flame is so important to mitigating hot spots. Those are your enemy.
So he's gonna heat that up and go in for a blow-in, huh?
I think he's gonna do more of a sleeve.
Ah.
Yeah, he could do a blow-in, but for this sort of thing, like,
he'll just let it naturally condense.
Yeah, that would be a little risky.
Yeah, it would. It would probably distort your lines a little too much if you didn't.
Yeah, if you nailed it, it would be fine. But if you didn't, you know, it's much easier to kind of work it back with the sleeve methodology that he's gonna do. That said, there's probably somebody out there who does it that way and crushes it, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to skin a cat.
Yeah. Just add it to the list of ways to do this technique. And then it's funny, some people some people are pretty adamant about the naming of this technique, where, like, if it doesn't trap the air bubbles between canes, then it shouldn't be called that and stuff. I mean, I respect these people. I just disagree with their opinion on that. I think it describes a patterning, and you would just call it a traditional Reticello if it had that, or the air trap Reticello or whatever. But that's just my opinion, you know. Fuck do I know? There's this great meme where it's like, Italians always say, "What the fuck do I know?" at the end when they give advice, and it's like, just in case it ruins your life.
Hey, that's a good insurance policy.
It really is.
You can't really be held liable
that's
for.
fucking smart. Yeah, totally. I'm gonna start adding a disclaimer to TorchTalk.
There you go.
Not liable if any of this advice ruins your life.
At the end of the day, we're all responsible for the choices we make in glass. I mean, or anything for that matter, right?
Yeah, it's true. We really are.
Everybody's gonna do a technique a certain way, you know, and it's always good to be open to other methods as well. But if you like a method and it works, why change it? You know.
Yep. I'm very much the type that thinks we should at least get it down to the point where you understand it and can do it, and then go back to the way that you're happy with if you don't like it better, or if you don't see an advantage type of thing. You know, I just feel like the more tools we have in the toolbox, and that's so much what these videos are about, you know? It's like, I don't want anybody to be like, oh, I'm going to make a rig just like this guy. It's more about taking this technique and having a different way, a methodology. This is the same methodology you could use for a double layer reversal. If one of these was a line tubing that you twisted up and some of the lines were clear, and the other one was another pattern that you twisted up, boom, you got that, you know? This could easily be a staircase, you know, like Jason Lee does, if the line tube on the inside hadn't been twisted up, you know? If you just condense that shit straight back, you know? Then you got the straight lines, and then you got the circles going over them. That sort of thing. This is the same tech. We have actually a TorchTalk demo with the homie Tyler Gozy and Eric Law. Man, these dudes are both axe murderers on the torch. And I mentioned when I started at Redemption with Fat Mike, these dudes started with me like right about the same time, and they're like my brothers, you know, because of this. And I don't know, man. They're really good, and they joined us on the show one night and did that double layer reversal demo, and it's so clean. And I think they did it pretty much like this, with a non-vac sleeve. And anyways, yeah, it's just the more tools in the toolbox you've got, it's like when you have that interesting idea, you're gonna be able to think of multiple ways of coming about it, and that to me is the key. You know, it's like, yeah, you learned how to do this Reticello, but someday somebody out there is going to have some even cooler or new idea and be able to add that twist on it. Maybe just because they were chilling with us on a Tuesday and added that little bit of thing that they saw somebody else do, those little tricks, you know? It is what it is, but Anyways, I don't know. It's so nice of these people to let me stick a camera in their face and help inspire others. And yeah, man, like we were seeing on his Instagram earlier, this patterning appears in so much of his work, and it's all sick as shit, in my opinion. And then, yeah, we got some sponsors popping up in the corner there, you guys. I've tried to keep that as unobtrusive as possible, but at the same token, I want to shout these people out. They really do help me get to all of these shows, and we're going to do it all over again in 2019 with some shows that we revisited. Fuck, you guys, the Appalachian Mountain Flame Off is going down in 2019.
Oh, nice.
How the fuck about that? Yeah, like we're going back to the mountain, baby.
AMFO.
Yeah, there's so much that's happening, and there's simply no way, it doesn't matter how much I love to do this and share with you guys. There's hard costs involved in traveling to the shows, and I'm willing to eat the cost, like the editing and all that stuff. I don't mind, but at this, I can't, maybe if I get like Southwest on as a sponsor, like we could work this out.
Dude, they won't even give you, Southwest won't even give you free drinks when they delay you for
that sucks. Yeah. Shit, what I do when I'm at airports now is I find the flights that have been delayed, because sometimes the airlines will put out a big tray thing full of snacks and bottles of water and shit, and you can just take that shit. They don't even care.
Oh.
Yeah. I've been doing this.
Interesting.
I'm telling you, yeah. It's like, don't go telling 100,000 people about this, but if just glass artists do it, nobody's gonna stop us. Like, I'm totally
I've got a secret that can get you free snacks at an airport.
Totally serious. I just look at all the gates and look near the front of where the people sit. Look for like the silver tray type of thing that they roll up and down the aisle. They usually bring one out, and I'm not kidding. They'll have so many fucking snacks. Oh, we're into the donut here, you guys. This is Jimmy, aka Trinity Glass, and okay, so he's got this tubing. It's like a caramel style striking tube. There's Maddie White in the background over there in the bottom left hand side.
Bottom left,
and there's this fucking his thing there, Maddie White Studios. It looks like they'd moved all the awards or something off the shelves. Anyways, Maddie White's the fucking man. He is like the master of ceremonies for the games, and just a cool ass dude. Shout outs. We definitely got to get him on the show. You guys may have also seen him in like Marcel's videos of the Starship. He's a big part of that. So anyway, shout out to Maddie White. But yeah, okay, so the homie has got this tubing. It's like I think it's probably like a caramel or a butterscotch.
I like it. Yeah.
He was gonna be here with us, and he still might pop in. And there's Hugh in the background. Big shout outs. Okay, anyways, the homie though is got this like caramelly striking color. It's a caramel or butterscotch or something, or maybe even silver strike. I don't know. But yeah, he's gonna blow this thing out into some kind of bubble, I imagine, and then flatten it and proceed to make the donut. There's a lot of ways to go about that. You can pop two holes and push them together almost like you're pushing two bowls. I like to use like bell binding tools, and just pinch them shits together, and then
Hugh.
Yeah, Hugh in the house. Hugh Salkind, if you guys don't know what we're talking about. He's awesome cat.
True OG, man.
He really is.
In the borosilicate pipe making scene, I guess, not industry, or maybe it's an industry. I don't know.
Yeah, and he also helps put on the glass games, you guys. So him and Maddie are like the two men running the show.
He was such a nice guy too, man.
He totally is. There's Shaggy as well, man. Freaking unbelievable glass artist.
Oh man, yeah, it's a lot of talent. When you go to these things, you're just surrounded by talent half the time.
All right, here we go. Flatten this bad boy.
Oh, there you go. A donut is born almost.
Yeah, a boom.
I think it was I was gonna add to the ways to make a donut. I think it was Gonzo Blake, our buddy from the melt scene. I was watching him do a donut, it seems, and he blew two holes out like he was gonna pop two holes on either side, but then removed some glass. I feel like quite a bit actually, and then connected them together. It may have not been Blake. I forget who it was at Melt that I saw have do this, but I thought that was interesting because I've never really done it or seen it done that way. But I guess it allows for a more a bigger hole in the center. I'm not exactly sure what the end result would be there, but I thought that was interesting.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Looks like he's going to go for the hole method.
It does look that way. Looks like he's gonna pop the holes and push them together. I've already forgotten, and I didn't watch this part earlier because I edited this up for the homies on my Patreon like back in the summer. So and it's like when I get on a plane for the next trip, whatever happened before I forget about. It's instantly.
It is a weird phenomenon, but it does happen, man.
Yeah.
It's you're so focused on the now. Sometimes I think that what you've already done is kind of, it's like, oh,
All
you
right.
forget about it. Back burner it.
Looks like that blew up pretty big. Yeah, I think he's cooking it back in a little bit. All right, so here we go. Yeah, doing it like the bowl push method, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, it just looks like a donut already, like an actual
Right,
delicious
sure does.
Krispy Kreme, maybe.
All right, so there he goes. He blew another hole, blocking the one hole with his graphite stick there. All right, there we go. So they came together, and now these kind of created a seal there, essentially. And the idea is to get them to really seal as much as possible, because once they're
Hmm.
sealed, then you've got air access on the inside, and and you can just keep reaming them.
Oh, he's reaming it with those tweezers there.
Yeah, you can pretty much ream it with anything you want, really. But yeah, it's so much of it is about once you get that seal made, and then you can get it really hot and just keep reaming it and giving it a puff, and ream it and give it a puff, and any type of weirdness there at that seal, if you've done your job right, it's gone.
Yeah. It'll even out. Yeah. And it's really beautiful how, if you get a really good one, like you said, and everything just works smooth, how
Mm-hmm.
it's awesome, even in clear, how beautiful that inner sort of, it's almost like a torus shape, I guess. I don't know
Yep. Yeah,
if
it's
that makes
wild
any
how
sense.
quickly it can come into being. So it looks like here there might not have been a perfect seal, so he's just using his pick to nudge a little glass around, and that's
Hmm.
fine. These things happen. Once you laser a heat through there a few more times with it sealed and giving it those little puffs, from there any little crease there is just going to disappear, and you'll widen that hole significantly and move that glass around a lot after it got superheated. So in theory, you're really kind of, it's like when you do those seals, you want to give it that little like a butt seal or a straight seal or whatever. You want to bring them together and then give that little tug, right? And I feel like it's setting the alignment of molecules or something along those lines. Is something somebody smarter could explain better, but um I think the same effect is happening here in that the seal area is being stretched, and it's just like any, it's not an area that's gonna have issues, as long as you get it sealed, and then really sees drilling mad heat through there with it sealed, and as it gets reamed out, anything in there, just any problem goes away. This is one of the more fun techniques. Everybody out there, don't be intimidated to try this.
Yeah, donuts are so much fun.
Yeah.
And I like his approach with it. He's going to make a donut. And most people will just make it, like either a mouthpiece or something, but he's actually going to make it a chocolate covered donut. That's awesome.
Oh yeah. Man, I like his decorative technique here, or whatever.
Yeah,
This
the way
is.
he icings it in a
Hmm.
way is, it looks just like the real thing. Do you happen to know what color that is? It looks like some kind of chocolate crayon almost. I don't know.
It looked like black to me, to be honest.
Is it black?
I
Okay.
thought it was, but I could be wrong.
The camera adds 3 shades or something.
Yeah, the homie was gonna join us, but I think that basically told me he ended up having to work later tonight, so I don't know if he'll be here to answer that question for us. I think it was black.
I guess that would make a, perfectly fine chocolate icing.
On the post about this, like the picture, the thumbnail, we'll get him tagged, and we'll ask him exactly what color it is, so we can supplement that information later.
Beautiful.
It does kind of look a little brownish. It's the way the light is playing off it.
Yeah, and it kind of looks uneven, like he almost like mixed his own color.
That's an interesting possibility. Yeah, we could be right there. Yeah, he's striping it almost as if he were striping a piece of tubing or whatever. But
mhm. Icing it up.
yep, it's really neat. And then he adds the drips later. After he kind of gets the initial chocolate laid down or whatever. And you get a good look at what's been done so far. See, then he kind of smushed that down there on the Elmarver as he went. Like right
Mhm.
when that's hot is the best time to get at it because it's hot. The donut's not. It's almost like the chocolate is gonna be like melting, and reaming around the donut. If you heat it up later, what's around it is gonna want to heat too, and all. So the best, it's same even when you're like, if you're making millie or anything where you terminate a stripe, the best time to clean that up is right then because it's super hot. If you want to cook that little termination spot in, that's the time to take that extra second because it's already got the heat established.
Mm.
To go back and fix it later is going to require a whole different extra amount of time. So unless there's some good reason for it, the best time to deal with it is right then. I think that's what that was about.
Looks like he's kind of cooking some of that in, making sure that chocolate doesn't break the donut.
Yeah, I think he's going in on the seams.
Yeah, kind of getting everything homogenistic, I
Yeah,
guess.
totally. Yeah, just cooking out that delineation there. Like some of it he wants, but some of it he doesn't, and I think for the most part that it's like it's hot when it goes on, so like you don't really see like the lines of it unless it's like a purposeful decorative kind of like striping around it.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, it's like a full coating of icing on this thing with it dripping off. So I think he wants to cook out those lines.
And also, I mean, the seal between the chocolate icing, if you will, and the donut has, I guess it's not really the best. He kind of laid it on there kind of cold. It's what it looked like anyway from my chair here. Maybe it was a little hotter than it seemed, but it looks like he is trying to keep
Yeah,
everything good there too.
a lot of that is you can get away with so much of that so long as you have not set up other conditions that'll trigger that stress. You're not going to want to leave a straight, nasty, acute angle or whatever, but
Right.
a
Yeah,
lot
and he
of
was
that.
working. He did. It looks like he's doing half and half, right? So he's got enough radiant heat from the area he's working to keep the other stuff from getting too cool and cracking. Is the way I kind of see it, anyway.
Right. Yeah. And it's like he went and cooked most of that in. Like, so
Yeah.
these really are nasty seals. But when we get into talking about guys like Salt,
Mm-hmm.
people who are doing really aggressive moves, cutting those teeth and that sort of thing, it's like once that part gets cold, they're not going back and fucking with it again. That's what's going to cause trouble is that when
Mm-hmm.
you go back to it when it's cold. Then those acute angles are basically a form of what's called mechanical stress. There's
Mm-hmm.
actually like a physical alignment of molecules that's wrong. And then, but thermal stress is where essentially one part of the glass is hot and the other part is cold, right? But the thing to think about is that in between there is what's called the stress zone. And for boro, that's like that 900 to 1000 range, like it's like 980 or so, right? 950, whatever. That's basically the stress zone, and any glass, like if part of it's really cold and part of it's really hot, somewhere in the middle has to be in that area, right? And if anything in that area has that type of aggressive cutting, when you bring it back up to temperature and force it through that zone, that's when it's going to trigger a crack and break the rest of your shit, or a crack will run. But if you just make the acute cut and it all comes up to temperature and comes down to temperature evenly, it's never going to trigger that form of thermal stress, you know? So it's like you need to think about thermal stress and mechanical stress, and make sure that one isn't setting the other off in an aggressive way. And you can almost get away with one being wrong, as long as you're not setting off the other one. But this is all pretty theoretical stuff, but just understanding how heat moves through glass and what's happening, in this stress, in my opinion, is key to avoiding it. And I learned most of this from Roger Paramore, one of the more important people I've had an opportunity to learn with. And he gets really deep on this stuff. I think we talked about it pretty recently, even like his illustration of how the heat moves from the outside of the glass to the inside, and it's like a dance party, where the vibe has to be passed along. It just takes time. Anyways, so much of his methodology is based in the science of how heat moves through the glass and the thermal and mechanical stress and how one can trigger the other and all that. And it's like, once you understand that shit, you don't really need a kiln to work, type of thing. When you get into like aggressive sculpture and stuff, of course you'll need that or a Bunsen. But basically, Paramore and everybody in his class, after he really explained all this, we worked the entire class without running kilns except for at the end of the night, and everybody was doing their most ambitious stuff. I was making Swiss pendants with encapsulated millefiori inside and shit, like all of it bench cooled. And it's because Roger spent that day with us explaining all this deep methodology of these different types of stress and how the heat moves through the glass. So that stuff, in my mind, you can get away without learning it at that level, but it's like you're kind of counting on the people who do understand it and their colloquialisms for it, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to truly understanding what's happening. So it's just stuff to think about. And if you ever have the chance to learn with Roger, I can't recommend that enough. He's a deep ass dude with it. He really is. Here we go. I think this is where he's really getting those edges.
Mm-hmm. Kind of
Like,
cooking in that very
yeah,
edge.
yeah, he's playing it safe.
That's the area that's, if it's gonna, mess with you, I think it would be that outer edge.
Yeah, if that's the only thing that's got that angle to it, and everything else is really even, there'd be nothing else to go wrong. I think he's gonna add the drips after this too, so it's like, especially if you're gonna add a transitional drip, you don't want any weirdness at that edge. You know what I mean? Then you'd
Mm-hmm.
be laying glass over a cut.
Yeah.
And if you don't lay it in perfectly and then heat that back up so that forms a really nice seal, then you'd be in trouble. So I think that's what was going on there. He's like, all right, I'm going to lay this glass on and then cook it in. But if I lay that over a fucked edge, you're only asking for trouble.
The color is awesome.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. It's, yeah.
Both colors, honestly.
Food is like, I don't know. There's this woman. She's like Russian. Let me see if I can find her.
Looks
All
like he's
right.
going through and adding some cool little droplets to it there. That's awesome.
Olga Noskova is who I'm talking about, and I'll pop this Instagram up after the demo. But she makes like cakes and stuff,
Mm.
and she makes they look like glass essentially, and her and other culinary artists or whatever are I don't know. I think they're finding ways to capture that look, and they're adding things to the icings and such that give it this, you know.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking. It's actual cakes.
It's actual cakes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think I've seen that. Yeah,
Shit,
it's.
I'm seeing a new one. It's got actual honeycombs in it. It's crazy.
Oh wow, yeah,
Yeah,
that's a cool process that she does. Yeah.
yeah. They look gorgeous. I mean, some of them look like striking colors. Some of them, it's pretty wild. I'll show you guys after this. But anyways, there is something about icings and all that stuff that it touches on some of the same thing in my mind that makes glass so evocative and beautiful as a material. Just the way light plays with it and all that
Mhm.
stuff. It's something that's special about this, and but food somehow can also capture that.
Man, it touches your soul, doesn't it? It's
And it does. The way to a
especially
man's heart.
sugary, delicious donuts. I want to stay up till 4 now and wait till the local shops open up and go grab some. This is not good for
Right.
my weight loss goals.
But baby, I watched a demo of a donut.
We got to have it.
That sure is pretty.
Yeah, I'm thinking some raspberry filled.
Yeah, the fresh donut light is now lit.
We are open. I like how he established, kind of where he wanted his icing to be. And now he's kind of going in and adding those exaggerated drips, which is kind of
Yeah.
cool. So, and once he melts it all in, it looks like it was all done at once. But
Right.
of course, we know the secret.
Just taking a minute there, cooking that in so it all looks natural.
Yeah, you want more material sort of at the bottom, right, than at the top of it to make it look like a drip.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, this is I mean, if you add drips to like something that's more of a vertical thing, this is vertical, but it's coming off of this horizontal plane, and it's just a different thing, and the way he's doing it, I think, it looks really good. Yeah, it
Hmm.
does. It has that thickness to it. It's like the drip stopped.
Yeah,
It's
the
but that's
viscosity of his low, right?
yeah, yeah. No, it's that sort of little thing, that little detail of it thickening up at the end of the drips that it fools the eye.
Hmm.
All right, so here he's opening up the holes for the pendant because it's gonna have two holes that a loop will go through. So he's capping. He opened one hole and now he's capping it, and then blowing the other, just like he
Oh,
did for the donut.
that's a beautiful way to do that.
Oh yeah. And yeah, a lot of those like hollow pendants of this, they do the loop on the top. But this one, it's a donut, so it's like putting it on the back. I think is definitely very clever. And there's a Shaggy there. John, his work. If you guys don't know who I'm talking about, his stuff is fucking awesome.
Hmm.
Glass art by Shaggy is his Instagram. And his stuff, he did this incredible Groot piece. I think some of you guys may have seen. His stuff's really amazing and consistently crushing it in all different ways. Just a quick scroll on his Instagram, the variety's incredible.
James Amos Jr. in the chat says, "Falling asleep right now. Glad I caught a few minutes of the feed. I look
Okay.
like such a dork. Much love, Mike Mason and the whole Champs crew. See you next year."
Okay. All right. Ask him what color the black was or whatever the
Yeah,
icing.
James, before you go, can you tell us the
Color.
colors? Yeah.
At least tell us the icing. Dude,
Yeah.
and James, thanks so much for letting me put this camera in your face and capture this. That shit was fucking awesome. That donut is too cool, and yeah, it's just great. Um, Again, shout outs to these sponsors, you guys. These companies really make it possible for me to get all these shows. It's, I'm working towards making this sustainable. And I'm not trying to make money off this. I just want to have enough money to actually, buy the tickets and, be able to do this. So all these companies are the folks that are helping me get there. And then some of you guys on the Patreon, if you have a few bucks a month and you like this, it would mean a lot if you could hop over there and sign up. You get early access to event footage and stuff, and I'm hoping that if enough of you guys sign up on there, it'll kind of round out the deal. Anyways, enough of that. Yeah, I did want to show you guys couple things. All right, here, these are the cakes that I was talking about. Look at this woman's cakes.
Yeah.
They're fucking amazing. What the heck?
Next level stuff, that's just
Yeah.
that's cool to see people doing that kind of artistry in other mediums. Because cake can be a medium,
Look at
for
this.
art. Who's to say it's not? Look at that, man.
It's crazy. It looks like a glass that's been poured over stone or something, and you can eat this. Like, what the fuck?
Ah, man, it looks like
Great.
an old tire
Yeah,
or
it's
a
got
filter of some kind.
It's got sparkles in it and everything. This shit is.
It's weirdly making me hungry.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's that glossiness and
Yeah.
the way the light plays with these
Oh,
things.
can you click on that one to the go up back up a little bit? Can you the one on the left where she cut that cake open? Oh yeah, look at that. Oh man, what's in there, dude? Wow.
God, woo. Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. As you can tell, guys, I'm into this cake shit. This is. Look at this one's got honeycombs.
Heady cakes.
Yeah, this one's like. Oh, they're supposed to be soccer balls. I got you. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Fair enough. Whoa. All right. Suggestive.
Yeah, look at that. I love how glossy that icing is. That is so cool.
Yeah. So basically, she makes glass cakes, and that was how I found her, you guys. That is Russian Cake Lady Instagram.
Russian cake lady.
This is Shaggy. You guys saw pop up there for a second. Look at this.
Oh, that Groot is amazing.
Yeah, fucking dope.
It is Groot.
Shit's fire. Yeah, his work is really, really good. Each one of these champ shows that he's participated in. Yeah, look at this. This is
unbelievable.
Very cool.
Is that one of those pieces with like a hidden bowl in it? Seemed like.
That's a good question. Gotta be all classic, like, oh, where do you put the weed?
Yeah. Well, actually, right here.
Yeah.
And this is your carburetor.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. His sculpture work is really cool. Like, so much of the stuff he does is neat.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like this is one of the guys that was in the Champs. Yes, he was at Champs trade shows. This was we saw the pictures of the whole spread, and we saw video of it in the back. I forget. It was basically the wrap. But look at the homie, man. Look at all these medals.
Wow.
Yeah, he's highly decorated.
Highly decorated.
Yeah. Look at this.
Man. I love that aesthetic, just that look is amazing.
And yeah, you called it, man. You see a 14mm force gravity perk is hidden under the 466 flowers in this 4-pound cluster. Good God.
466. That could take you a while to find.
Totally. So anyways, yeah, that's Shaggy, you guys. We've got some fun footage of him, and I look forward to catching up with him again.
I can't wait to see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine that he is going to be back for the Champs Masters Invitational. So, yeah. Anyways, that's a bit of Shaggy. Hope you all dug that.
Totally cool.
Yeah, that was cool. All right, what else was there to talk about here? Was there any? I don't know. I can't see Facebook. This whole thing is crazy to me. But were there any questions? Was there
Yeah, there
any?
was one off, kind of off topic from the demo. I
All
wanted to
right,
save it till later.
lay it on me.
Andrew Knott wants to know, he's upgrading from a Red Max to a Phantom tomorrow. Any tips?
Oh, what now? A Red Max to a Phantom?
Yeah.
Okay, well, the first thing is like download the GTT manuals. Like if you get it new, you'll get it. But a lot of people buy them used and then they never read the manual, and you'll see shit like people will talk about like the secret flame where it's like the just the triple mix and fuel, and you can get this incredibly sharp laser flame. That's actually in the manual, so it makes me laugh when people are like, "Yo, it's that secret flame." Like, well, what? It's in the fucking instructions. Did you guys read it? Um, and then there's like a GTT instructional video. Let me find this thing. I know it's on YouTube. It's so old. I joked that it was like sponsored by Chesterfield cigarettes, but
If you link it in the Google chat, Mike, I can link it to the Facebook real quick. I mean, if
well, I'm not capable of linking to a chat, but check this out, you guys. Look at
oh, I
this.
got you.
This is the video. It's just how to use your GTT torch. So if
Couldn't be
you
easier to search right there. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Don't think we get look at this in trouble for playing this. But look at these, like some old models they've got here. Some I don't even think they make anymore.
Hmm.
It's the Bobcat, the Lynx. Shit looks so old, man. I don't know. This looks
I
like a
imagine some '80s music behind it.
yeah.
Like,
I can only imagine like old porn music on this or something. You know?
oh, like a bound.
Yeah. The
I
Phantom.
was thinking it's more of an
There's your
'80s
new torch guy.
infomercial kind of thing, like a the Phantom,
Yeah.
a very capable torch for melting borosilicate. Uh,
Okay, look, this is a Phoenix, not
oh,
shown. They
Phoenix.
didn't show it, but there's this. That
Uh,
was like one stage, almost like a
ooh,
Lynx or Phantom or something, as I recall. I forget. Yeah, let's look that up. Okay, so
Delta Elite.
watching these videos, that's like my advice. You know, and just read the manual, run it at its recommended pressures. You know, yeah, the Phoenix is like a one stage. That's what
Hmm.
that is. Yeah, see, it's like,
Wow.
yeah, crazy, right? Anyways, that's how old this video is. Optional 4 stud. It's just like before foot pedals. I'm just kidding. This video though is really dope, and you see they're showing you all these different flames that you can get with like. So I think this might actually be the one with just the oxygen, just the triple mix. It looks like he did have a little oxygen going, but. Anyways, this video is dope. It shows you all these different types of flames you can use. This is worth 13 and a half minutes of your time if you're a new GTT owner. Maybe even if you're an old GTT owner. So this is like warnings. They're showing you exactly what the issues. See that candles like that? That's a great shot of that type of candle that'll destroy your torch face, you know? And see, there you go. You can even see the metal starting to fucking cook up.
Do not use your GTT torch in this manner.
Yeah, it's crazy. They like sacrificed one to do that, to get that shot, I guess.
Yeah.
So I think we probably just shared enough of this. I'm gonna
Keep that oxygen on.
and get a cease and desist from Willie or Wally or whatever. But for real, this video is dank. Oh shit, it's the Marblehead show, you guys. This is Tim's show. And this show is fucking awesome. You guys should check this out. Wait till you guys see. In fact, let's I'll share with you guys just a little bit of this, just so you guys can see what I'm talking about here.
Just a taste.
This is just a taste. That's right. Now this was shot in HDR, so this does not look right. It needs to be processed colors, but
I was going to get the first coat done because I usually do 2 coats, and then it takes, at home it usually takes about 15 minutes to dry, room temperature in the house. Well, when I did the first coating of this earlier today, it took like almost 40 minutes for that first coat to dry, and then I can but piece and I will rub it clean. I like to run like 100 pounds of pressure in the blaster. I'm running like anywhere from 150 to 200 aluminum oxide is what I like the best. If I when I and brush off the excess. So what I'm doing is I'm removing the excess, but I'm also removing brush strokes, and I'm smoothing out that layer of paint because it's going into all of the little porous surfaces, but all the extra stuff is sort of brushing off to the side and either coming off with this brush or moving up onto that smooth glass. So I'm really just trying to remove paint, remove brush strokes.
okay, all right. Do you guys get what I'm talking about here? This tutorial, he is explaining like the dankest shit about like electroforming glass marbles with intricate patterns and the real shit. Like this dude, and he spoke for like 2 hours and shared like 10 years of his experience in electroforming and cut out so much of the bullshit involved, and that we'll be sharing that whole thing. I'm not fucking around. This is like he basically took everything that he had learned that's available on the internet and talked about what's right, what's wrong, how to run all of the actual hardware in a way that makes sense for borosilicate electroforming. Like, I'm not kidding. That demo was the shit. Anybody who was at Melt and saw it can back me on this. Like, it was an astronaut. It was like in the Matrix, you know, like, oh, I know Kung Fu. It was that level of knowledge drop, you know. It was like in 2 hours, you just like went from like knowing maybe fuck all to like knowing exactly how to get the tightest, proper, sick electroformed patterns. Ryan Fitt, Tim Kaiser, these guys doing this nasty stuff. So much of that information is there, and I just need some time to edit that one up. That's one of those ones where like I want to take some time with it because it's just so fucking good. So expect that in the near future. But yeah, anyways, that's Tim, man. Huge shout outs to Tim, and especially letting me put that camera in his face on that demo. Whew. Yeah, that
Awesome
was Mel.
stuff.
But yeah, and huge shout outs to all the homies involved at Champs. I hope all of these cats out there in Colorado are having a blast tonight. It was super fun to kind of revisit it though, you know, in our own way. I think that's about that. Did you have anything else, Will, or was there?
No, I mean, I don't have anything else other than subscribe to the YouTube channel, which those of y'all watching later will
hopefully we'll return
watching on.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll upload
Hopefully
this
YouTube gets its stuff going.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, cool. In that case, guys, I did want to mention in a few days we're going to run some auctions for the homie Kalen J. He started having some seizures, and, you know, we can't do this forever, but Amir at Lampwork Supply, we already did a couple of them with the Troutman sample packs. There's going to be another auction, like, I think we're going to do it on Thursday, and that's going to be like one big lot at once with multiple things you can bid on. There'll be a few more of those sample packs, and then some packs. I think each one will get like a pound of the acid yellow as well. So there'll be like some old school CAD colors in there too. It's going to be tight, and it's all to help the homie who's going through some rough shit, like some sudden, like the reality homies. I think I'm not telling you nothing you don't know. It's just something we should think about from time to time, is like how quickly life can change. You know, where we get to do all this stuff, this amazing, this melting this glass, and it's like that could be taken away so fast. And you break a hand, you do this, you do that, or maybe your brain just breaks. Shit happens. This is what life is, and you know, we all just get old, and the machine breaks. So, I don't know. Enjoy this shit while it lasts, and melt like it's your last sesh, because you never know when it is, and. Not to be a downer or nothing, it's just we got to savor these moments in life that we have, because you know, like I said, savor the good. Thank you for giving me this moment to savor tonight, you guys. It is always a pleasure to do this and share some cool shit, and hell yeah, I hope y'all dug. I'll bid y'all farewell for now and hand it off to Will. Thanks so much to everybody who tuned in. I really appreciate you guys, and hell yeah, until next time.
Yeah, all I can really say is ditto to everything Mike said. Enjoy the ride, guys. Enjoy every day. Make it the best day ever. You know, just do your thing and live your life, because that's all we can do at the end of the day. And I don't know. Yeah, like Mike said, this is a pretty cool thing we're all doing here together. It's the glass community kind of coming together for a live thing, hanging out on the internet as the technology of mankind allows us to do, you know, and it's a beautiful thing. So I'm in agreement there. Episode 193 in the can. Thank you, Mike, for some great footage. That was awesome.
Yeah, of course. Pleasure.
All the artists, you know, that were on here, amazing stuff. It always is. And Champs, thank you for doing what you do. So until next week, guys, that's all I have. We'll see y'all right back here on a Tuesday evening, and stay melty.